and Dave Daily right here on the Muskegon Channel. I'm Andy O'Reilly. There's Dave Cackley. Welcome to Thursday. You know, last night I got to, sometimes I'm contemplative. Sometimes
Yes.
I think problems through at a level
Mhm.
most men can't understand. Usually I play with one arm tied behind my back because, let's face it, I'm above average intelligence and surrounded by, well, the likes of you. Um, and last night I was thinking about how great things were when we were kids, or so it seemed. You
Mhm.
know, your childhood.
Yeah, yeah.
It's magical.
Revisionist history. Yeah.
It's wonderful. Everything is perfect.
Mhm.
Rainbows and unicorns everywhere you go. And as I was milling about the house 10:30, 11 o'clock last night, here sits a bag of sour cream and onion potato chips. And they are nowhere near as good as they used to be when we were kids.
Oh, no, not even close.
And I'm wondering to myself now, is the deficiency in sour cream and onion potato chips the fact that the man has made them worse, or has life
Yes.
changed into experiences so far past sour cream and onion potato chips that they're no longer uh, they no longer deliver the wow factor? What say you, Dave
Uh,
Cackley?
I think it is the man. I think the level of care that went into the sour cream and onion chip production
Yep.
back in the 80s, the heyday of our youth,
Yep.
where I still remember that's what I would eat for lunch
Yeah.
in middle school. I'd have a because I couldn't stomach the soybean shit burgers they were serving.
Right.
So I would get either a bag of barbecue chips or sour cream chips. Both were great. Both were top notch.
Right.
But I would agree because I have sampled some since then in recent history, just this past week.
You too.
And yes, they are at least a notch or two below what they were. And I know they say your taste buds change. No, this is just shit. It's
Okay.
shit now. Okay, because I still love PL. It's similar to what happened to Little Caesars Pizza and Domino's Pizza when they were great back in the 80s and in the early 90s, and then they just fell off a cliff. And now there's somewhat of a bit of a resurrection with Domino's, and Little Caesars just gave up and said, yeah, we'll put them adjacent to a gas station. We don't care. It's the
Here's
same
ketchup on
level of
cardboard.
shit.
Right.
Basically,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I would say that it is the man. I don't think it. I mean, you could make an argument. Okay, your taste buds change, but no, the quality, as has been the case with many of our options. We have more options, but not necessarily a lot of quality options. And I think that's
You
just where we're at
bring
in
up barbecue
society.
chips, and I
Mhm.
see when I enjoy a barbecue chip, they have not fallen off the diving board. They're still fine. Barbecue is still good. Um, Sour cream and onion though has
Mhm.
really taken a nosedive, and I think something should be done. Is it time for a sternly awarded letter? I don't know. Is it time
Here's
for a public campaign against sour cream and onion and the lack of
no,
improvement
okay.
over the years?
Here's
Is what do we need to
no,
collect points?
no,
Are we
no.
going
We
for
don't do
Marlboro
either of those
miles?
things. No,
What do we got to
no.
do?
We're doing nothing. You know why?
Why?
Because you and I are members of the last great generation,
Okay.
Generation X, where apathy was embraced as a virtue, where we don't really care. We'll bitch about stuff, but we're not going to change anything. We're not going to protest against anything. We're not going to do anything. Sometimes the best you can do is nothing at all.
Well,
And that's what I say, you know what? Accept this fact. Sour cream and onion chips are now dog shit. You cannot consume those anymore. They're
mm,
awful. They're terrible.
ugh.
You don't want to eat them anymore. So that's just my advice to you.
Here's my thing though. I'm thinking about future generations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about those kids in the bowling alley on Saturday morning who get, their $2.50 allowance that they, blow on grapefruit soda and sour cream and onion chips.
Mm-hmm.
Think of the life experience that they're going to miss.
You know what? We can mourn their lesser than childhood from a potato chip standpoint.
Yep.
they don't know any better. They just don't know any better.
Well,
And it's okay. It's like because kids don't, here's the interesting thing about kids. They don't really change that much. They're still dumb. Kids are always dumb. They're always going to be dumb because they're not old enough to be smart yet. So you just have to, like, my son is still bored to tears all the time with all the stuff he has,
no.
with all the infinite number of entertainment options and channels. He's just like we were when think about, and again, there's a lot of revisionist history. We talk about our great childhoods because there was a lot of outdoor time, a lot of this, a lot of that, but we were bored most of the time. We had way fewer options.
Well, don't
we
forget
might have
too.
been happier, but
Don't
we
forget,
are.
there were the
we
times
were
that you
bored.
smoked your parents' cigarette butts.
No, I never ever did that.
Oh, yes, you did.
Ever.
Everybody did.
Oh, dude. Okay, first of all, you were the one who was a drunken degenerate at 13. I didn't touch alcohol even on my 21st birthday. So I didn't start. I got drunk. I accidentally got drunk at my sister's wedding when I was in 8th grade because one of my brothers thought it would be funny to give me the spiked punch, and I didn't know it. And then I was like, whoa. But then I didn't start drinking until I was like 22. That was it.
All right. Well,
So
I
never did that.
I'm going to have to contemplate it all day. Maybe some sort of action. I can't. I don't know if I can let.
No,
this
don't do it. Look, again, that goes against who we are as that generation. We don't engage in those things. You are slipping out of character, and I don't think that's a good thing.
Okay. Well,
don't do it.
My thoughts.
My advice to you would be to let it go.
All right.
Just let it go. That's what we do. And we move on.
All right.
We move on and bitch about the next thing.
All right. Well, give me the next thing, and I'll think about bitching.
All right. Let's get into it. The president on Wednesday vetoed legislation that would have canceled his plan to forgive student loan debt. The U.S. Supreme Court is reviewing a legal challenge that could eliminate the program. If enacted, Biden's plan would forgive up to $20,000 per student loan. I've said this before. This is a very complex issue. It's not black and white, and this would affect me right now. Although I don't have as much student loan debt, it would have been a bigger thing for me years ago than it is now. I got my student loan debt down to next to nothing anyway, as far as a monthly payment goes. But I get kids are being fed a bill of goods to a large extent with these student loans. Hey, you got to take this out so you can further your education, get better jobs. And a lot of times it's not worth what you're paying. Right. And in fact, I will say this, the vast majority of the time, financially speaking, it's not worth what you're taking out. I mean, unless you're going to medical school, you're going to go to law school, you can be an engineer, something like that. Maybe if you're going into education. But I also understand those who have paid their student loans off and said, look, I busted my ass. I made good financial decisions. I paid them off. And now you're just going to forgive these people? That's not right. And I understand that. I think ultimately, though, I think the forgiveness thing is probably a good idea just so we can eliminate whether we can afford this or whether the president has the constitutional right to do it. That is a question that has to be answered ultimately by the Supreme Court. Whether or not it's constitutional, I'm not 100% sure. Again, I do understand, respect, and appreciate any argument on either side.
So let me scale it up just a little bit.
Go ahead.
People are pissing and moaning about the student debt loans. And okay, understood. I get it.
Yeah, you didn't take any out.
Nope. Well,
so
I used to have to borrow $5 here and there for parking coins at JC.
I got my car towed for parking tickets.
But look at it like this, the government had to bail out how many too big to fail entities. Was every other business sitting around going, well, you didn't do that for me?
Yeah, actually, they were.
Okay, all right. Well,
they were. A lot of businesses
and then
were.
Along comes the pandemic, and they pass out how much money?
Oh, yeah. I didn't see a nickel of that because I had to
places
keep
that really didn't have it coming, right? Here's free money, everybody. And you know what? I wasn't one of them.
Me neither.
So, at what point do we stop looking at the top tier and going, hey, here's your free money, and when do we look at the little guy and say, all right, here's a break for you?
Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem with giving anybody anything for free. First of all, it's never free. Somebody's got to pay
I
for it.
know.
Secondly, this is what I know about human beings and human nature. I understand this. I don't understand a ton of things. I know this. When you give people assistance, a lot of times, this isn't the case with everybody. Instead of being appreciative, what ultimately it becomes is resentment. People do ultimately resent being helped financially. They'll feel like, oh, you got something over on me, or
Yep.
you're holding this over my head, or they, for whatever reason, and I don't know why this is the case, people become resentful, and it doesn't do what you think it's going to do. You like giving people just enough to get by, and then you like this is the problem with, like, say, with welfare in certain situations where, okay, you can't get a job because if you get a job, your welfare goes down, so you're not fiscally incentivized to work.
Right.
And we got to switch that up, because you need to work, you need to have meaning, you need to be doing something.
Yep.
And if you're just given just enough to get by, you're going to get fat, lazy, and stupid, and you're going to become very, very bitter and resentful, and that happens 90+% of the time.
You're 100% correct.
So I don't, yeah. But what you're saying is understandable. Like, we were bailing out these people who should have known better, who should have been fine. I mean, we're not talking about a 17-year-old taking out a loan that he's not going to be able to pay back, odds are. And so, again, I do think that argument, as much as I respect those who say, you know what, I paid mine off, this is not right. I think, and then again, I'm somewhat biased because this impacts me and I would be getting some forgiveness. So, yeah, I don't know how much that is playing into my view of your argument that you just made, carrying just a little bit more weight.
There you go.
All right. What else is going on? The sequel to Beetlejuice is in production. Beetlejuice 2 set for a September 2024 release. Michael Keaton will reprise his role as the vulgar poltergeist. Winona Ryder and Catherine O'Hara are returning as well. The original, of course, premiered back in 1988. I'm excited about very few movies typically. I'm very excited to see this come. I loved Beetlejuice.
Loved
Michael Keaton should have won an Academy Award for that.
Yep.
It was brilliant. It was fun. It was macabre, but in a funny way.
Yep.
Winona Ryder at her teenage apex. I mean, for our generation, that's going to be a fun sequel.
Tell you some of my favorite things about Beetlejuice. Number one, Geena Davis. Love her. I have never seen a Geena Davis movie that I haven't enjoyed thoroughly. I would
say, you know what, underrated actress. I
think her screen presence is great.
Mm-hmm.
I think her sense of timing and character and everything else is just phenomenal. And she's as cute as a button. Oh, I love her. Number two, Danny Elfman's music.
The music in that movie was phenomenal.
Danny Elfman.
Yes.
And you remember Susie Cole?
Yeah.
Yeah. Susie knows Danny.
Really?
Yeah, that's another one that just drives me a little nuts. That one of my former interns goes up. I mean, it's not just like it drives me nuts. You're happy to see him succeed and all that stuff, but here she is. Here's pictures of her hanging out with Danny Elfman. I'm like, oh my god, delivered. Put a stamp on it. You win, kid. And then 3, the idea of the whole afterlife thing. I mean, that sincerely brings up some contemplative things.
Yeah, I mean, again,
it gives you something to think about.
Right. It's one of those things. It doesn't, your faith is whatever your faith is, but it's fun. It's just a fun look at it.
Yeah.
And just it's all it is escapism. It's just
what if?
What I loved about it, there's no agenda at all. It's just a fun movie. Anybody can enjoy. Your kids can enjoy it. Your adult, it crosses generational lines. It's great.
Great movie.
Absolutely. Finally, holding your phone while driving will be illegal in the state of Michigan starting next month. The governor signed legislation into law Wednesday. The bill is designed to combat distracted driving, mostly aimed at young drivers. Now, this is one of those things, it makes a lot of sense because I mean I still do this, and I shouldn't do it. When I'm talking on the phone, and you got your hand up, and you've got the phone up here. I try not to do that too often, and that's one that cops can catch.
Yep.
Like the ordinarily, if you're texting, and I had a cop, multiple cops told me that's just incredibly difficult to see unless they see
Yeah.
unless you're doing this while you're driving. They rarely can catch that.
Right.
This is something that they can catch, and especially for young drivers who, I mean, their attention span is a
I get it.
millisecond anyway. This is a really, really good piece of legislation. I totally on board with this.
I'm with it
100%.
too, and I have to confess that I'm the world's worst.
Uh-huh.
I am, and I've made a conscious effort to not a text and drive, b not look at the phone. But it's hard.
It is really hard.
It's really hard, and with
It's-
this new law, it's like okay, and my new car too. That thing's got the whole Bluetooth
Yeah.
in the car where you can just let the.
And that's the thing. I
but
mean,
you know what? That's hard to
Bluetooth
get
is
used to.
It is
Uh,
because you're so used to you just.
I know.
Yeah, and it's especially hard for people our age doing it because it's just.
And here's the
it's a
thing too.
constant.
I don't buy the whole younger driver, older driver argument at all. I think and I'll tell you why. Because no matter how old you are, the relativity of speed and what you're doing, it's the same. So if you're a distracted driver at 17 or a distracted driver at 47, you're
It's
still doing
different.
55 miles an hour, and you're still looking away at your phone, and you're still doing this, and you're still doing that. The amount of time it takes for an accident to happen is a split second.
You're right, but
It doesn't matter how old you are.
span, yeah, it really does because your
disagree.
attention span at 16, 17, 18, again, and we go back to your brain as well not being fully developed.
I
You
just
don't
think it.
have the
I
you
think there's
don't
no
have the
relevance to that in
ability
this.
to. I am willing to look. I believe the numbers would the data I believe would back me up on that. That
Well,
you're
it
more
might, but-
likely to get into an accident and be distracted the younger you are driving because you haven't experienced. You haven't had that. The
Yeah.
big thing is especially that first near miss
Yeah.
where something could have been cataclysmic and
But you know
literally
what?
ended your life.
At 45, you're sitting there thinking, "Oh, I got this. I've been driving for how
No, yeah.
long?" and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I'm not saying older drivers can't be idiots or be distracted. That's not the argument.
Right.
It's more apt to happen the younger you are. It just is.
Okay.
So I mean but again, I think a good piece of legislation by and large. So
There you have it.
kudos. Sports. Denver wins game 3 of the NBA Finals, 109-94. They retake home court advantage. They lead that series 2-1. Cubs lose. They fall to the Angels 6-2. Tigers, Philly postpone. That's sports.
All right. It is $400 today in fruitful book titles.
Okay, fruitful. So I'm assuming this is going to encompass either apples, oranges, some type of citrus.
Depends.
Okay. Go ahead.
Might be a
What-
romance
what you-
novel.
what-
You never know. Especially for you.
Oh, very funny.
All right, you
Oh,
ready?
look at you.
I know, I'm
Oh.
funny. I'm funny, haha,
so
like
subtle.
that. What are you drinking?
Uh-huh. A little watered down 5-hour energy extra strength.
It's called an energy shot, not an energy sip.
I sip it because it's not good to do it as a shot.
Oh my God, you're drunk.
Do you do a shot of coffee? Do you drink your coffee like this?
Yes,
No, you don't.
yes, I
You're
do.
such a lying sack.
I've
No.
already got a whole pot of coffee down,
Yeah, but you didn't drink it all in one gulp.
pretty much.
That's the point.
All right.
No, you did.
A book about remarkable stories of people overcoming adversity is titled "When Life Does This."
Life does.
You're at 36,800 in the hole.
And what's this worth?
400. Think hard.
Overcoming adversity. When life gives you lemons.
Look at you.
Boom!
Look.
I almost totally effed that up. Because you know what I was thinking? Because I'd forgotten what the category was because it was fruit. at first I was saying, when life throws you a curve, when life does this, then I was like, wait a second.
Look at you.
Wait a second. This is fruit. This is citrus. And then I zeroed in on citrus, and then boom.
When you
lemon.
said citrus, before I asked the question, I was like, "Oh my God, this guy's a genius." I thought to myself, "He is clairvoyant."
I'm next level.
You are.
This is where I am. Everybody else is here. I just stepped it up. You know what that's known as? Turning it up to 11. Yeah. We went Nigel Tufnell on you right there.
Wow.
Booyah.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. I'll see you back here tomorrow.
See ya.
Wow.
Happy Thursday, Muskegon. Smoky skies will linger into your Thursday, but thankfully it will not be like anything New York City saw. So let's look at your forecast, brought to you by Trinity Health. Your Thursday and weekend weather headline show we will have smoky skies to deal with throughout this morning, and that will also linger into your Friday, unfortunately. And we'll also be dealing with a high swim risk, especially during the afternoon hours as the waves build with stronger wind gusts during the afternoon. And then rain thankfully will arrive beginning this Saturday night and especially on Sunday. So here's the smoke forecast. This is Thursday morning at 8 a.m. And you can see we'll likely wake up to some smoke in the atmosphere, which will cause the sunrise to be red, once again similar to what we saw on Wednesday. But like I said, this will not be anything close to like New York City saw on Wednesday afternoon. Our temperatures today will be about what they were on Wednesday as well, with temperatures in the mid 70s. And similar to Wednesday, your Thursday will also have a high swim risk with sunny skies and smoky skies as well, with waves building to 3 to 5 feet during the afternoon hours. They will be calmer during the morning though, and then winds will pick up around 20 miles per hour from the northwest during the afternoon, and water temperatures are slowly warming up into the upper 50s now. So for your Thursday, expect sunny skies, otherwise we will have that smoke in the air, making it a little bit milky appearance or hazy, with a high of 76 and a low of 50, with clear skies continuing, but more smoke will likely spill into West Michigan overnight. And that smoke will linger into your Friday, but thankfully it will be out of here by Saturday with a high of 81. But then we'll have to talk about rain showers, thankfully, arriving Saturday night, going into Tuesday on and off, with the best chance being on Sunday, with highs cooling down into the 60s early next week. And that's your Thursday forecast, brought to you by Trinity Health on the Muskegon channel. And I'm Cool Winds Weather, and enjoy your day today.